Hi then guys and girls, welcome back to Kitchen Modelling. This week, Tamyia, Dehailland Mosqutio Mark 4 or Photo Reconnaissance Mark 4. This is the 1 in 48 scale. This one came out in 2019, if I'm correct in thinking so. So it's the slightly older version than the brand new 1 in 32nd scale Behemoth, which costs a fortune, which has the works. I mean, Christ, that kit looks amazing. Might get around to it one day when I've got the money. First things first, box art. Really like the box art, actually. It's really impressive, really pleased with that. They've put a bit of effort into that one. Alright. Into the box we go. We'll do the instructions in a minute. When I'm not banging the camera. Tamyia, typical black and white instructions. Not instructions. Paint and decal sheet. I wish they'd print these in colour, because I don't use Tamyia colours, I use Vallejo. But overall quite nice, clear indication of where you put your stencils and your decals. Speaking of decals, standard Tamyia decals. You've got seat belts in there, control panels, roundels, call signs, and a few stencils. Nothing in the back. Tamyia instructions. If you want to pause the video here and have a read of the top one, that's all in English. But basically, this is an aircraft no one wanted until they had it. Wood and canvas construction, powered by 2 Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. So the Spitfire engine, 2 of those, hoofing this thing around. Incredibly fast, would outrun pretty much anything. That's why it was used as photo reconnaissance and used in all sorts of weird and wonderful operations, such as pathfinding. These things would literally skirt the ground from crossing over the channel. They would skirt the ground to their target and then skirt back. There are stories of these guys coming back with all sorts wrapped around, like the tail wheel or the undercarriage, ranging from telephone wires, bits of trees, fences, you name it. Well, not entire fences, but bits of fence, you name it. Guarantee one of these probably came back with one of those. And so right, typical Tamyia instructions. The big fold-out booklet, which is great, but not great. So in this kit, you get several variants. 105, 109, and 540. 540 is the photo reconnaissance version. B is the night fighter, and A is the fighter bomber. So, unusually, straight in with the engines on this one. Yeah, don't know why they've done that. But typical Tamyia instructions, very clear, very precise. Paint as you go along, sort of bits and bobs. Here's a prime example. So option C, which is the photo reconnaissance layout for the bomb bay. You take off the sprue, take off the edge of the arms, etc. I think I was wrong actually. I think B might be the fighter bomb version. No, I'm not sure. I might have to look into that one. But then again, type B, your bomber variant, type C with cameras. A nice construction idea with the center wing spar to attach your wings on, rather than trying to just bosh them into the fuselage, or tiny little tabs on the edge of the fuselage. By the looks of it, good cockpit interior detail. Oh, these fold-out instructions get confusing. 2 pilots, which is nice. Not everyone includes a pilot. I wish they would. Same as Tamyia. Please, once in a while, actually show how you'd say to put the landing gear up on it. Gets annoying after a little while. Very simple, slot together construction. Can't really go wrong with that. By the looks of it, good detail for the cockpit interior. Plenty of control panels, 20 of moulded in accessories into the actual side of the hull. There we go. So closed bomb bay, split bomb bay, your two plugs for the camera holes. Excuse the dog. Dust, lie down. Canopies, etc., etc. That's a quick flick through the instructions. Right, on to the actual bits and bobs. So we've got the nose cone, dials, which are really nicely imprinted actually. Cockpit main, access ladder, hatches. Okay, so the detail is actually really well imprinted in on the interior of the cockpit and on the inside of the bomb bays actually. That's really nice. Okay, glass fuselage parts, really nicely printed actually. They're going to be fun to mask up. Worry about that when we get there. Third bag, two pilots, really nicely moulded pilots. Really nicely moulded, more cockpit components. Interior of the bomb bay, that's really nice. More cockpit components. Flip that over. Now there's the engine nacelles. I don't know how people pronunciate them, but I'm probably going to get shouted at one way or another. Not too sure if I'm going to put the exhaust covers on or not. As I've never actually seen a Mosqutio with the exhaust covers. Every time I've seen one in a museum, they've been open to the elements. I quite like the exposed exhaust look. Okay, so there's exhausts, munitions, landing gear, wheels, and two types of propeller. One thick, one thin. Wheels are really nicely printed actually, really nice. And exactly the same on the other side. And you've got rocket pods. Interesting. Okay, wing time. Okay, so wings, you've got clear vision for the engine in there. Tailplanes. You have to excuse the dog. Go on. You're interrupting. Go on. Off you go. Bye-bye. Sorry about that. That's the third time she would have interrupted, and I got over 5 minutes in, so went with it. Right. So wings, by the looks of it, very nicely done with riveting markers, as this was a canvas over wood, so there wouldn't be very much riveting going on. The same again on this side. Nicely done. Very nicely done. Okay, that's new. That is new for Tamyia. I've not seen one of these. So a big very big printout, single-sided. I think that might almost be one-to-one with the model. So to be honest, you could use that for a stencil, but we will find out when we get there. That could be interesting. That looks like you could literally do one side of the aircraft, chop, 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 center, wings, tailplanes. That could be very interesting. See how we go with that one. Anything else in the box? Typical Tamyia, little tip sheet, double-sided. If you've bought a Tamyia kit, you would have seen this a million times. Yada yada yada. Right then. On with the build. This is an impromptu one at the moment, as you can see the crap lying around on my desk. This was the part of the paint off a Spitfire, but unfortunately got to literally last stage, about to put the decals on, final bits of weathering, and the paint started to peel off. So I don't know what's going on there. I have to figure that one out later today. But anyway, enough waffling, on with the show. quick, guys. The Tamyia 1/48 Mosqutio. A few bits still to go on. The upper antenna, the lower antenna, the weapons gear, and the propellers. I've kept those separate for painting reasons. It's just going to be easier to paint them as they are. Made a homemade mask kit for this one. Bar the bubble glass and nose glass and side windows, they're going to be covered using mascara. I just peeled that off as I put that on after I put them on the aircraft, just in case I accidentally touch them with glue, brush them with the sanding, etc. Just a nice little easy way to do that. So same as the, hold up the camera, wingtips, as they are coloured. So I'm actually going to paint in behind the clear glass before I put them in. Any detail I've taken out with the sanding, I'm going to put back in with a panel scriber and rivet marker. Apart from that, went together really nicely. Really pleased with this one. Really pleased with the figures, even though you're not going to see half of them. They're hidden behind the bubble glass in the cockpit. Yeah, quite surprised for a Tamyia kit. Some of the seam lines, especially the wing tips and the actual wing joints to the body, and there and there, also as well, didn't exactly fit snugly. So a little bit of the Mr. Hobby dissolved putty. Little trick I learned is put it into the crevice and then give it a minute or two, and then go over it with a bit of enamel thinners on a cotton wool bud. It takes off most of the excess, so you don't end up with great big heaps you're trying to sand off and you'd be there forever. And it comes out really nicely. The sanding things I'm using is actually off a flexible sanding pad. It's a 1000 grit, because I've never really put too much time and effort into sanding. Most of the kits I've built, they've gone together very, very nicely. And anything where it hasn't gone together well, any filling, etc., has been really easy to sort of hide. They don't give you instructions on how to put this together with the landing gear up, even though a few minor, very simple modifications, and it actually goes in quite well. A little bit of filling around the edge of the panels, but bar that, really happy with it. Same as the tail wheel. There's no precept instructions on how to mount the tail wheel in a raised position. Apart from that, I didn't put the exhaust cowlings on, as I like the Mosqutio with the exposed exhaust. Any other sort of points I can cover on this one? It's a Mosqutio. It's simple, it's pure, it's all frills, no spills. This little thing is fast. But anyway, I'm going to get on with the painting. So I'm going to remask up the glass that I unpeeled. The Bombay is going to go on. I left it off because the two little arms that attach in there and down here are quite delicate and I don't want to break those. So I've left them off for the time being. I'm going to hand paint those afterwards. So I'm going to get the... No, I'm not actually. I'm going to leave them off, because I've just realised it's going to be a bit of a nightmare trying to spray in there. So I'm going to seal up the Bombay, change the plan, seal up the Bombay, remask the glass as appropriate, mask up the two landing lights under the wings. Quite simply, what I'll be using is, the light's not shining on it, the Humbrol Maskol. I get on with it really well. I really quite enjoy it, and it's quite a simple product to work with. Apart from that, mask it up, get it ready for paint with the glasses, figure out the camo pattern on it, see if I can do anything with the... Where'd I put it? Because that is... It's a 1-to-1 pattern, which is quite nice actually. Very surprising. So I'm see what I can do with this, and go from there. To be honest, might provide an interesting result, but we'll see. We'll see how things pan out. Just find the number. Okay, nice. So yeah, gonna see what I can do with this. See if I can translate it onto the aircraft in a way which isn't terrible. If I can use that, perfect. If not, then I will mask up in my own fashion using either masking tape or masking putty. You can use blue tack and stuff, but I don't like it. I've seen people use it before in the past. Don't really like it. So, gonna get everything masked up, ready for paint. And then, yeah, time for paint. See you in a few.
sondern lasst uns angenehmere anstimmen und feiertrunken himmlische dein Heiligtum, deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel weilt. Deine Zauber binden wieder, was die Mode streng geteilt. Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo dein sanfter Flügel
Right then, so that's the 1 in 48 Tamyia Dehailland Mosqutio completed. Really happy with this kit. Decals really nice, went together really nicely. If you noticed, one of the wingtips did break off and had to be magically glued back on later on. Big shout out to Salisbury Model Centre for this one, for the Humbrol clear varnish gloss. Didn't know you could apply it with a sponge, but actually really upped the game on this one. Got something planned for this one in the coming weeks, etc. So stick around and find out what's going to happen. Anyway, thanks for watching. Enjoy the last pictures. Adios.